I should change the time.
Exactly. Let's start with the JSE. We're seeing markets around the world going, and the JSE seems to be struggling to hit those early highs of the year.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem we've got on the JSE is that we've got a heavy resource base. And if you look at a lot of emerging market indices have got a similar problem. So in the last couple of weeks, we've seen the resources taking a huge knock, as we've seen the commodities almost peaking out for the year. So we've seen the likes of Brent crude hitting their highs and pulling back. We've seen gold hitting highs and pulling back, and platinum as well. So I think that has been the main reason why we've seen that structural shift out of resources and into slightly more favorable stocks on different exchanges.
But if you're an investor, don't panic.
At this moment in time, I wouldn't be panicking because we've obviously peaked on the commodity front, and I think it's just a matter of time before we start seeing positive numbers in some of those areas you mentioned, i.e. in manufacturing, getting slightly higher demand numbers out of China, and that could hopefully shore up some of the commodity prices and inevitably bring up the JSE again.
All right. Well, let's go across the Atlantic, because the US is just breaking records at the minute. Why? What's going on?
Well, I guess we've just started seeing the earnings season starting beginning of this week. We saw Alcoa reporting the earnings, and then the big guns started reporting today, the big financial institutions, and their numbers have generally been positive. We started seeing some more top-line growth, as opposed to seeing a lot more cost being cut out of these companies, and hence that's been very, very positive. And again, we're also seeing some mixed economic data out of the States, and last week we had those terrible jobs numbers, but in between we've had some positive numbers which have pushed up the markets, and I think a lot of people out there believe that things are changing in the US, and I think it's going to be a better market for all.
I'm going to bring you back home, because we had mixed, no, in fact it wasn't mixed, the only thing was the rand. The rest of it, consumer confidence, manufacturing output, all not great news. What does it mean? What are consumers telling us?
Well, again, a lot of consumers are still strangled. If you look at any individual on the street, their balance sheets are pretty stretched, and people don't have the capacity or the ability to spend in shops or go out there and get more credit. So at the moment, a lot of consumers are strangled and can't really spend much. So that's basically what's going on.
I've run out of time. Very quickly, the rand. It's as strong as we've seen it in a while. Is it going to continue?
I think in the short term, it's definitely going to continue. I think at this level we are at the moment, about 981, we might find a bit of resistance for the rand. But if it gets through that, I think we could. 881. We could see it trading towards 850.
Okay. All right. We're going to leave it there. Paul, thanks very much for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you very much.